Identification of all breaks, removal of subretinal fluid, refixation of retina to choroid, and tamponade injection. The basics of reattachment starts with scleral buckling. Few procedures have tested the time and still maintaining the position. Scleral buckling was the first time-tested retinal reattachment procedure. It was non-invasive, less inflammatory procedure, but obviously with some globe deformation and not suitable for multiple or inferior tears. And gas tamponade was notoriously cataractogenic. So according to Professor Steve Charles, this is an obsolete technique. So the era of vitrectomy began that gave us the first wind of change, and it started with a purse planar approach with internal tamponade use, either gas or silicone oil. And soon it became very popular and it produced the second time tested benefit. But even with vitrectomy, ensathclage was inserted to give additional support to the base. So the gold standard of current retinal reattachment surgery is thorough vitrectomy, base excision, fluid air exchange, endophotocoagulation, and injection of tamponade. The popular vitrectomy initially was 20 gauge. It had larger ports with more wound leakage, more sutures. So something developed which was 23 gauge system, and it soon became a boon for the surgeon, and it was the second wind of change. It was no suture, no blood technique, which gives wonderful post-operative appearance and speedy recovery. Wide angle visualization system also makes a lot difference. It helps to create more precise base excision. With that, use of ensathclage is now decreasing. So the modern era microincisional minimally invasive vitreoretinal surgery is 23 gauge vitrectomy with wide angle visualization system and additional endoillumination through the fourth port. So nowadays, something called chromatic vitrectomy is a popular choice. Vitreous is stained with triamcinolone acetonide. It stains the vitreous even if it is present in minute amount, and this is another time-tested factor. And contradicted to the popular belief, it doesn't cause any post-op IOP rise. So vitrectomy cannot be said completed until checked and rechecked with triamcinolone. So let us see some machinery evolution. To start with, Robert McKimmer's Visc in 1971, then Ghulam Freeman's Vitreophase. The first innovative thing came when at 2002 there was one machine called Innovit, and the cutting speed was 1800 cuts per minute, followed by in 2006 the cutting speed became 2500 in cuts per minute, and nowadays modern era 5000 to 7500 cuts per minute. The port of the 23 gauge system is much more closer to the tip, and it helps us to go more close towards the retina. So some more time-tested factor, cutting rate affects the flow and outcome. So higher cutting rates are always better. 5000 is better than 2500 and 7500 is always better than 500. Smaller incisions are better for globe stabilization, better wound healing, and combined cataract and reattachment surgery gives best possible result, and silicone oil is always better than the gas. But some remained unchanged even with the high wind. Vitrectomy must be done as much as possible. All breaks must be treated. You shouldn't miss any break because it invites redetachment. Avoidance of ensathclage again invites thorough base excision. No residual traction or subretinal pathology should be left, and relaxing retinotomy should be done as per need. Use of heavy liquids to stabilize the macula, and last but not the least, prone position must be maintained. So the wind of change is blowing. Welcome the new. It's the time. Yeah, thank you.